welcome to Normal Gossip. I'm your host, Rachel Hampton, and in each episode of this podcast, we're going to bring you an anonymous morsel of gossip from the real world. I hope y'all enjoyed last week's episode with none other than the youngest Nobel Peace Prize winner, Malala herself. If you haven't listened yet, then what are you waiting for? And if you have listened and find yourself wanting to know who Malala considers to be a better gossip, her friends, or Justin Trudeau, well, then have I got a treat for you. Last season, Sierra and I realized that we had so much tape we had to leave on the cutting room floor because these episodes simply cannot be 2 hours long. I know you guys asked for that. You don't actually want it. So in our subscriber exclusive feed, we are publishing some of our favorite behind the scenes clips, including some from our episode Malala. Like, she tells us about her first and only experience with weed. Tell me you don't want to hear that. You can. The further away I get from that recording, the more I'm like, damn, how am I going to top that? But don't worry. I've got at least a few more years of Normal Gossip left in me, and both Sierra and I love to compete with ourselves, so who knows what the universe has in store. While we're waiting to find that out, I have got an incredible story for y'all today. This is one of my favorite scripts I've gotten to work on, and today's guest is a familiar face for those of y'all who listen to the show I hosted over at Slate called In Case You Missed It, or ICYMI. Back in May 2024, we collaborated with a show called Never Post, which is a podcast about and for the internet. We talked about what we called monocultural moments, which are these moments on the internet that break outside their niche and end up being all anyone can talk about. Think like those couple of months where we thought Kate Middleton was missing, or the Titanic submersible story from 2023. Yeah, that was 2 years ago. We'll link that collab in the show notes. I have a feeling y'all might want to listen to it after you hear how fun today's guest is. Today, I am joined by Mike Rugnetta, a writer, producer, and host of the podcast Never Post, which joined the Radiotopia network earlier this year. So technically, our shows are like cousins or sisters or whatever you want to call it. Mike, hello. Thank you for joining me.
Rachel, hello. It's an honor to be here. I am beyond thrilled. And I'm going to be honest, a little scared, but we'll talk about that soon.
Yay! That is the exact overlap I want. That is the Venn diagram space that I want all of our guests to exist in, is excited and a little bit scared.
You know, I'm a rule follower at heart, so here I am. I'm just, I'm doing what I'm supposed to.
Perfect. I will ask you to kill the rule following part of yourself once we get into the gossip, because I'm going to need you to be judgmental.
Okay.
But before we get into that, I wanted to ask you the question that we ask all of our guests, which is, what is your relationship to gossip?
I love a good story. And I especially love stories about people trying to figure it out. People just having challenges, interpersonal difficulties, even if it's remote, like a shared common goal. I really, really love it. But there's a certain aspect, I think, to a lot of gossip that's about people's deep personal experiences. And I think for me, that's a sort of glass house thing. I'm pretty private. I don't really share a lot of my business publicly. And so sometimes I hear someone else's personal business and I'm like, I should know this. I should know. This is this is not for me. And so it makes my skin crawl a little bit. For most of my life, I've been an artist. I worked in theater for a while. Now I work in media. And so I'm surrounded by just energy is high, emotions run high. People talk about other people because it's important that you understand who you're working with and that you know you're going to be on the same emotional wavelength. And so that, I think, involves some amount of almost professional gossiping.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe I know how to gossip in a really narrow register, maybe even professional arts related gossiping is something that I think I can do a little bit. Mm-hmm. But no, I'm not a interpersonal friends gossip. People don't really bring me gossip. When my wife was pregnant with our kid, I remember, she would be like, you don't have to bring me food. I want gossip. I want you to go out into the world and get me gossip.
Wow.
Because that's what I'm not getting right now, being out in the world. And I need. So I learned a little bit about how to gossip in that moment.
I love that your wife was like, I cannot go out into the world and gather this for myself. So I'm sending you all out, my hunter-gatherers, to get me The good shit.
She is, I would say, a world-class eavesdropper.
Oh, that's such a good skill to have.
We will leave a restaurant and she'll be like, did you hear that conversation that was happening 5 tables over? And I'll be like, what? How were you talking to me? And also...
You're like, I was focusing on the chicken. The chicken was really good. What did you think about the chicken? And she's like, well, they were breaking up. So I don't know if you want to lock the fuck in or not.
Yeah.
Me and your wife, I think, would get along.
I think you would. She will absolutely be listening to this and like giving me tips about how to gossip better.
Oh, please let us know what tips she gives you.
Okay.
Let us know her rating on your performance over the course of this show.
I will.
I mean, you've told me now that you don't consider yourself a natural at gossip, which makes me very, very excited to hear the gossip that I've heard you have for me.
I do. I have some.
Ooh.
I do have some. I can't explain why I'm so nervous about this.
I can tell.
I've been doing things in front of people for so long. Like, people are like, do you get nervous? I'm like, no, I never get, like, I get excited. Like, right now, nervous.
I'm honored.
I would say this story, I think it's a really good kind of like character study.
Ooh, I like that.
And this is one of a few bits of gossip that like I am directly involved in. Like, this happened to me. I was there. Like, this is an experience that I had. When it wrapped, I was like, that was wild. This is over a decade ago, maybe about a decade ago. Some friends of mine and I rent a house in the woods, like in the middle of nowhere, for another friend's birthday weekend, just like hanging out in a big house together. And one day we all decide that what we're going to do is we're going to cook a big Italian dinner all together. So everybody has their job, and like we're going to just spend the day vaguely working on those things until we all get together at the end of the day and eat all together. I end up being, as the person of Sicilian descent, I'm in charge of the sauce. And I mention this only because, like, it's context for the fact that there's a point in this story where the details get hazy because I have spent all day cooking sauce and drinking red wine.
I'm already loving where this is going.
Great, good. So anyways, we're all hanging out in this house, and there's 7 of us, I think, including a couple. Let's call them Scott and Annie. So they are here, right, for the birthday celebrations. They're part of celebrating my pal's birthday, but they have their own Airbnb. They're staying at a completely different house. And Scott is the heir to the fortune of a very old international company. And Annie, who was his girlfriend at the time, works in finance. I'm going to be honest. I think that maybe she worked in finance in the way that like people who work in crypto now say that they work in finance. You know, like, I don't know what she did. I get the sense that it was like on the fringes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have a clear picture in my head of Scott and Annie. Okay.
Yeah. The only way really I can describe how they are, besides these details, is that they're rich. These are people who are rich. They conduct themselves in the way that rich people do. They're at this Airbnb, you know, we're all making this big dinner, and they're both kind of doing their own thing while everybody's working on their dinner tasks. After a while, Scott gets a phone call from the owner of his Airbnb, who like lives in the other part of the Airbnb. So Scott has 2 dogs, and the Airbnb, no dogs allowed. The owner is calling and they're like, dog, you got to get these dogs.
Yeah.
Like, this is against the rules. So he and Annie fight about this. You know, there's a pointing and a shouting and a whatever. He leaves, gets the dogs, comes back with the dogs to this Airbnb that is also no dogs allowed.
Okay.
As a rule follower, as previously established, I'm about to go insane.
Yeah.
I didn't bring my dog on this weekend getaway for this reason. Eventually, dinner is done. 5 of the 7 of us have spent a huge amount of time all day on this like big, beautiful spread, pasta, sauce, like bread, salad, chicken, like the whole 9 yards. Multiple tables have been gathered and like put together. One of my friends spent all this time like putting up beautiful place settings, and everybody lines up to get food. Who do you think is first in line? Scott is first and Annie is second.
Wow. And
do you want to guess the size of the portions that they serve themselves?
Massive. Of course.
Exorbitant.
They were like, this is a family style meal. I'm eating for a family.
I'm the family.
I'm the family. Yeah, you cooked for me. Thank you so much.
This to me is like the emotional climax of the story. Like, I didn't say anything. I had been sort of in orbit the whole day being like, wow, this is weird. And like, this is just such a way to behave.
Yeah.
I'm at the end of the line. And I remember turning to my wife and being like, these people have never, ever worried that they have maybe too much. Narratively, the story keeps going, but it just gets like weirder and weirder, like odious rich people details. Like they fight more. There was a moment where like he had to go back to his Airbnb. And by the time he had returned, like some of us or most of us had gone to bed, the door was locked. So instead of like ringing the doorbell, he tries to break in through a window. And one of my friends thinks that someone's trying to burgle the house. So he goes down and he's like ready to beat the shit out of this guy. And he turns on the light and it's Scott. And like they get in a shouting match because of course my friend is like, dude, what the fuck are you, like, what are you doing? But really it's the spaghetti that sticks with me.
I love that you're like, this story hinges on this pivotal moment where this sauce that I spent all day slaving over was taken. And you're doing the hand gesture.
Was not distributed fairly.
Was not distributed evenly. And then you're like, and then later in the story, he did try to break into the house, but like, that's actually not really that important. It's the fact that he ate too much of the sauce that I made.
For everybody.
No, it's true. I do think it says a lot. I feel like it's so true. Those people, they never think they have too much. In fact, they're always thinking they don't have enough, even as they have the most. Like, they're always like, how do I get more?
How do I get more?
And it's like, babe, when does the more run out? Have you thought about that?
It seems like you're unhappy. And maybe the constant search and desire for more is part of that.
Who could say? I'm not rich though, but I do have suspicions.
The theory of mind here, you know.
Yes. Wow, that is beautiful. I feel like there's never a weekend trip in an Airbnb that does not have some kind of story like this. Because once you get, I think, more than 4 adults together, something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen. Yeah. And then dogs that aren't supposed to be there. That's a lot. I'm scanning through my available memory of like friend weekends. And yeah, there's a story for every single one of them. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be honest. That's at least 30% of why I go. Because I know I'm going to have a story once I leave. I'm like, okay, beautiful scenery. And someone's probably going to do something crazy. And it's not going to be me. Because I'm going to be high. So I'm just going to be watching.
So you're gonna be on the couch?
I'm going to be on the couch with my vape pen and a glass of wine, watching what's going on. It's dinner and a show.
Ready for the evening entertainment.
No, literally, I'm like, whatever y'all want to do, good with me. I'm going to be on the phone with my bestie once we get back, though, telling them what just happened.
Set up a camera, just whatever you do, just make sure it's in this general area.
No, exactly. It's like, can you guys stay in the right frame? Like, you're kind of going off screen. This isn't helpful.
I missed that. Say it one more time.
Yeah. That was great gossip. And now I'm looking forward to my next weekend trip with 4 to 5 adults for this very reason. Because I'm going to come out with some crazy shit.
Make sure to get one really rich guy.
And that rich guy will not be staying at a separate Airbnb. He will be renting the Airbnb that we're in.
See, you're smart. You've thought about this.
You got to scam. Thank you for that beautiful gossip, Mike. Now I have some for you. Are you ready?
I had like a wave of relief having finished telling that story. And now it's like I'm back up to 10. Yes, I'm ready and I'm excited.
There are 2 important things to know about today's story. The first is that it takes place in New Orleans in the late 90s. And the second is that it involves vampires.
Of course it does. Of course. Is there any story that takes place in New Orleans in the late 90s that does not involve a vampire?
I couldn't say.
Okay. I'm so excited.
I wanted to ask, do you have any prior history with vampires?
Well, I mean, only a couple thousand years having been one for a while. Yeah. I mean, I love vampire stories. I am a self-described mall goth. When I was in high school, was really obsessed with a tabletop role-playing game called Vampire the Masquerade that my friends and we never played it, ever. But I think I read the rule book for it maybe 100 times.
Mike, what?
Yeah. It's just an old tabletop role-playing game, very goth in nature, very 1990s.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of the memories of like what goes on in it have been papered over by just time.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I can picture myself sitting in my friend Sean's basement, holding the book, like flipping through it. So, there was probably a period of my teens where I wanted to be a vampire, either literally or metaphorically around a table with some friends.
I mean, I don't know if I can personally relate to anyone who didn't at some point in their teenager years want to be a vampire.
Who doesn't want to be sexy and immortal?
Exactly, yeah. Okay, so we're in a good space. I think you were perfectly placed to get the vibes of this story. So, our friend of a friend today is named Thomas. And Thomas has just moved to New Orleans to get his master's in historic preservation at Tulane. His girlfriend, Lydia, is moving with him. They had met sophomore year in a student theater club. Thomas had played Hamlet, while Lydia had played Ophelia, and they had been inseparable ever since.
Okay, so just immediately, I love both of them. I want to protect them, and I want nothing bad to happen to them.
Both Thomas and Lydia are super excited to be moving to New Orleans. They both identify as a bit goth. Like, they're not drinking each other's blood on a regular basis.
Okay, an interesting clarification. My opinion of these two is not changing, but shifting.
Yeah, 75% of the clothes they own are black. The other 25% is like oxblood red or like midnight blue. So Thomas and Lydia are stoked about all the potential goth activities that New Orleans has to offer. Like, I don't think it's crazy to say that there's like real, actual spooky shit in New Orleans. Like, if you want to find a ghost in America, I think New Orleans is a great place to start.
Yeah, that aligns with my understanding of New Orleans. That, if you want to find spooky stuff, it's one of the places you can go.
Do you believe in spooky stuff? Are you like agnostic? Or are you just like, I don't touch it? My vibe is I don't think about it and it doesn't think about me.
Yeah, I don't think about it, and I hope it doesn't think about me. When I was younger, I was definitely really into spooky stuff and was like really into the idea of ghosts and spirits and haunting and poltergeists and stuff like that. That's a pretty common fascination, or at least it was when I was growing up. Now I think I'm pretty agnostic about it.
Well, unfortunately for Thomas and Lydia, they don't really get into any spooky shit in their first couple of months in New Orleans. Thomas's grad program is actually super intense, and he doesn't really fit in with his grad cohort. His classmates all seem intimidated by his bridge piercing, which is the one like between the eyes through the bridge of the nose. Apparently not a lot of aspiring historic preservationists have bridge piercings. Who could have guessed? Not me. Meanwhile, Lydia's having a really hard time nailing down a full-time job. Her undergrad degree was in art history, and turns out her parents had been right about the career prospects associated with that. So it gets desperate enough that Lydia even applies to wait tables, but turns out even restaurants want their waitresses to have experience. Who could have guessed?
Who could have thought?
Not Thomas or Lydia.
Poor kids.
How long do you think it takes to settle into a new city?
Like fully settle in, like you've got a job and like, your house sort of feels like yours. I'm going to say if you're really fast, 3 months. Normal, like average time, like a year?
Yeah, it takes a couple of months before things start to trend upwards for Thomas and Lydia. At the advice of one of his professors, Thomas does take out his bridge piercing, and that does help. His classmates get used to him. Plus, Lydia finds a job.
Yay, good job.
Technically, it is an apprenticeship, but the florist promised he would start paying her once Lydia was no longer a hazard with the pruning shears.
Oh, no.
So vibes are trending upward. And they start looking even better when one day at the flower shop, Lydia hears about this goth bar in the city from a customer who had ordered a dozen black roses. So the next night, Thomas and Lydia dress in their finest black clothing and they head to this goth bar, which is called Louis, as in the protagonist of Interview with the Vampire, because this bar isn't just goth themed, it's Anne Rice themed. How familiar are you with Anne Rice?
I have watched Interview with a Vampire.
Which Interview with the Vampire adaptation have you seen?
The first one with Tom Cruise.
Perfect. Thomas and Lydia had both seen the 1994 movie with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. But that was about it. So they're in a similar place. So they feel a little bit out of their depth, but the vibes of Louise are exactly what they're looking for. Like the wallpaper is red velvet. There's not a single overhead light to be found. And the bar serves not one, not two, but 3 different kinds of absinthe.
You got to have variety in your life. You know what I mean? It's important to have choices. And why not start with absinthe?
Have you ever tried absinthe?
I have. Yeah, a bunch. I've had a fair amount of absinthe in my life.
What do you think of it? I'm so curious. I want to try it so bad.
I think it rules. It's great. It tastes like that kind of liquor. Like it tastes like sort of anisey, licoricey, and it's extremely strong, so you don't drink a lot of it.
Thomas and Lydia are planning to take a cab home, so they immediately get an absinthe-infused cocktail before finding a table. And it's not long before they're approached by another couple. And this couple is giving Morticia and Gomez Adams. Like, the man is even wearing a black and gray pinstripe blazer. His name is Marcus. His wife, Michelle, has like the thickest, darkest hair that Lydia has ever seen in her entire life. And Marcus and Michelle are regulars here at Louise. In fact, they tell Lydia and Thomas that the main reason they had moved to New Orleans a decade back is because of how much they loved Anne Rice. So when they find out that Thomas and Lydia have only seen the 1994 movie, Marcus and Michelle immediately light up like kids at Christmas, or like kids at the Nightmare Before Christmas. If you want to be aesthetically accurate.
They light up like a black light.
Exactly. Marcus and Michelle are like, oh my God, you're in for such a treat. Do you prefer hardback or paperback? We have signed copies. Are you free on Friday at 7 p.m. so we can hand off these books? And before Thomas and Lydia can even say thank you, they have Friday evening plans to get these books.
Whoa. I would be a little scared. I would definitely be scared.
Well, Thomas and Lydia are desperate for friends. And they're non-denominational goths. So they don't have anything against Anne Rice. And once they start reading Interview with the Vampire, they're both like, hold up, this is great. But also, this is way gayer than the movie. Which both Thomas and Lydia consider to be a plus. One of the things they had bonded over during that college production of Hamlet is that they both believe that there is textual evidence that Hamlet is at the very least bisexual, which is a thing that Shakespeare nerds apparently care a lot about. I say that because my best friend is a Shakespeare nerd. So finding out that Anne Rice's vampires are like explicitly gay only made Thomas and Lydia more excited to keep meeting up with Marcus and Michelle.
Okay.
And it turns out Marcus and Michelle aren't just fans of Anne Rice. They consider themselves followers of Anne Rice. Like, a huge portion of their social life is dedicated to this fandom. And if there is one place in the world where you can fill your calendar year-round with Anne Rice-themed events, it's New Orleans in the 90s.
Much like the existence of an Anne Rice bar, this detail is almost unfathomable in 2025.
Well, the most important event in the Anne Rice social calendar is the Anne Rice Ball, which is a real thing, by the way. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't. And I am excited to learn more.
I had not before this story, but apparently the Anne Rice Ball is thrown every fall by the Vampire Lestat fan club in New Orleans. This year, as in 2025, marks the 37th Anne Rice Ball, so it's been around since before the Brad Pitt movie. The movie did not hurt ticket sales, plus Anne Rice was known to attend when she was alive. The dress code for the Anne Rice Ball is extremely strict. Like the website says, quote, if you are not in attire appropriate to the aesthetic and extravagance of our event, you will be turned away at the gate and no refund will be given. Tickets this year in 2025 start at $393.
Good for them. Will I be paying $390? Probably not. Will I be dressing up in accordance with the rules anyways, just in my house? Maybe.
I mean, listen, I love extravagance.
Yeah.
So back in the late 90s, when Thomas and Lydia first hear about the Anne Rice Ball, it's still about a month out for them, but tickets are already sold out, which is fine because Thomas and Lydia are enjoying hanging out with Marcus and Michelle. All the events they've been invited to have been cool. There's obviously a lot of costuming in this community, so Thomas and Lydia get to tap into their theater kid roots, which is fun and exciting, but they're a long way from paying whatever the 1990s equivalent of $393 is. All of that starts to change, though, when they first hear about Gabriel. Mike, have you ever had, like, a self-destructive crush? Like, not enough to require, like, medical intervention, but certainly enough that when you look back, you're like, ooh, not my finest hour.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. 100,000%. Yes.
So Gabriel is apparently infamous in the circles that Marcus and Michelle run in. He has allegedly been anointed by Anne Rice herself. He leads tours in a New Orleans cemetery, and rumor has it that his canines are so sharp because he's had them filed down to look like actual fangs. Other people say he was born that way or reborn that way.
What?
Because, of course, this group of people is, like, half convinced that Gabriel is an actual vampire.
Okay, everybody. All right. Chill out.
As Marcus and Michelle are telling Thomas and Lydia about Gabriel, it is so clear that Marcus and Michelle are trying to play it off like they're not that impressed. Except it just ends up giving that scene in Mean Girls, you know, where it's like, I saw Regina George wearing army pants and flip-flops, so I bought army pants and flip-flops. Marcus is like, I've heard Gabriel speak Romanian. And Michelle is like, Gabriel's actually fluent in 20 languages, including Old English, Welsh, and Bavarian.
All the vampire languages.
Thomas and Lydia are a little skeptical, but when Marcus and Michelle invite them to a Halloween party that is exclusive enough that Gabriel is rumored to be in attendance, it does not take Thomas and Lydia long to say yes. Thomas and Lydia, super into costuming, super into Halloween, so they spend their whole week constructing their costumes, and they decide to go back to their roots. So Thomas is dressed as a period-accurate Hamlet, while Lydia is Ophelia, specifically Ophelia in that famous John Everett Malay painting.
Yeah.
Where she's, like, singing and drowning in the river.
I was going to say Hamlet, you could be Gother. It's not goth, but, like, you could be Gother. That Ophelia in particular nailed it.
Yeah. Like, Lydia's got flowers twined through her hair. She somehow managed to make her dress look like it's wet. So they fit right into this Halloween party because there's not a single dollar store costume in the place. Like, it is clear from the quality of some of these costumes that real money has gone into them. The room is full of velvet and brocade and swords that low-key look like they could maybe actually do some real damage.
This is not a party of florists' apprentices, is what you're telling me.
No, it's not. Okay. But still, even among all this finery, it is immediately clear who Gabriel is. It's not even his costume, though it is quite impressive. He's dressed as the Count of Monte Cristo. It's just Gabriel's entire vibe.
This is the first room that they've been in months with a single downlight, and he's standing directly underneath it, glowing.
Exactly. The best way I can describe Gabriel's vibe is, have you seen the second Lord of the Rings movie?
Yes, but like when it came out, so...
Okay, there's this part in the second Lord of the Rings movie, and I've got a visual cue here to jog your memory, but it's when Aragorn opens this huge, heavy door, and it is a peak sexual awakening moment for a lot of people.
Oh, I get it.
Okay, you said, oh, I get it. Tell me what you get.
I get it. Like the backlit silhouette of the attractive guy just shrouded in leathers with a sword and nice hair, the smoky air, the authority with which he does it, the heaviness of the door is apparent from the sound design. Like it's like one of those things where it's like it's, 25 frames or something, but there's a lot in those 25 frames.
Thank you so much for describing that perfectly, because that is the exact vibe that Gabriel brings into this party.
Yeah. You're like, this guy could open a door. Exactly. Let me tell you. And he is opening one right now.
A door to my heart. Exactly. Gabriel looks to be in his late 30s to early 40s. He's got like dark shoulder length hair that he clearly goes to great lengths to take care of. Like Lydia's a little bit like drop the blowout routine king. He's tall, like over 6'2", and he's got these piercing green eyes that immediately hone in on Thomas and Lydia. Marcus and Michelle even notice as the night goes on that Gabriel's gaze keeps returning to Thomas and Lydia. Like, Marcus is clearly trying not to sound jealous when he's like, looks like you two might be the lucky ones this year. Lydia's like, what does that mean?
Oh, no.
And this is when Michelle reveals that every year, Gabriel buys 3 tickets to the Anne Rice Ball, which, if you remember, in 2025 cost $393. And he selects a couple to accompany him as his personal guest. And what happens after the ball, no one's ever really said, but no one's ever been disappointed.
Well, subtext.
Lydia is immediately like, hell yeah. She's clearly trying and failing to play it cool. Like, her posture is suddenly incredible, and she's like artfully twirling some of the flowers in her hair, and she keeps looking at Thomas, trying to like gauge how he's processing this information. And this isn't Thomas's first bisexual rodeo. He's read about this before. Thomas is admittedly kind of nervous when Gabriel finally approaches them. The night is winding down. The candles have burned down low. At this point, almost everyone has dispensed with whatever character they were playing, not Gabriel. To introduce himself, he bows low over Lydia's hand. Enchanté, he says.
No, absolutely not. Milady-ass Gabriel. No.
Lydia's taken like a semester and a half of French, so she's like, oui, ditto. Thomas can tell there are already stars in Lydia's eyes. Gabriel tells Lydia and Thomas that they're the best Ophelia and Hamlet he's seen since the original production at the Globe Theater.
Okay, yeah, I mean, like laying it on really thick.
Lydia asks Gabriel how old he is, and Gabriel's like, you never ask a vampire's age.
I was going to say, he's gonna say you can't ask, or he's going to say, older than you think, older than I look. Yeah.
How long would you play along with this bit? Keep in mind, Gabriel is like objectively really hot.
Yeah. I'm going to really take my cues from Lydia. That like the moment that she seems even remotely like uncomfortable or not into it, I'm going to try to break the kayfabe or whatever. But I think I'm going to be really looking for that moment. If I'm me, not very long at all, probably like a few sentences.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, so like, where are you from? What's
For real.
It's gonna be your real name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not Gabriel.
What do your parents do? Huh? I'm here.
Yeah, nothing Thomas has read has prepared him for this moment. Luckily, though, Gabriel clearly has many years of experience, maybe even centuries. Who's to say?
Me, I'm to say. This particular kind of character, I think, is bothersome to me, like as a person in the world. But like, I want to make sure that I'm being clear that I cast no aspersions on Thomas. And that if he's like, actually, this fucking rules, like, sure, dog, that's awesome. Great.
Well, the business card Gabriel hands them is straight out of the last century. Like, it's on really fancy, substantial cardstock, and it's embossed with gold. And on the front is Gabriel's name, just his first name, like Cher. And on the back is an email address.
No, nope, mm-mm.
Thomas kind of has a similar reaction. He's like, what? He like raises an eyebrow, and Gabriel sighs and is like, I know, but one must stay current. And with that, Gabriel sweeps out of the room, leaving nothing behind but the smell of lavender and old leather books. So, you get home, do you send Gabriel an email?
I don't think I'm doing it that night.
Ooh, make him wait.
Yeah, he's been around for thousands of years. He can wait.
Exactly.
He's what's another evening?
Literally.
But yeah, I'm probably sending an email if I'm one of the two of them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. As soon as Thomas and Lydia get home, they sit down at their iMac, like the one with the big box on the back, because it's the 90s, and they compose an email to Gabriel, who responds in 10 minutes.
He was waiting.
Red flag or green flag?
Green flag, honestly. That is the most human thing that he's done so far. He, maybe, if we sort of imagine what he's thinking, wants to make an impression. Maybe he does really actually find these people somewhat impressive, wants to hang out with them. Maybe wants to sleep with both of them. Who knows? Who can say? And he gives them his card, wanting to be contacted. It's very human of him to be like, yes,
yeah,
they emailed me, and to be excited about it and to email back. I also think email etiquette has gotten more complex and weirder over the last 30 years.
100%.
And I think that probably didn't have as big of stigma associated with it back then. Like now it's like you respond to an email immediately and you're like, whoa, okay, hold on.
No, literally. It's like, do you have a life?
So I think responding immediately, at this time, it didn't suggest as much as it does now. Yeah, I like it. I think it's good. Yeah.
Gabriel's email is filled with all sorts of rhetorical flourishes from other times. He writes of how dazzled he had been by them at the party. Not in my long, lonely life, he writes, have I beheld such beauty. He compliments the shapeliness of Thomas's calves, the slenderness of Lydia's neck.
Very period-appropriate compliments, yes.
Mm-hmm. Say what you want about him, but Gabriel can write an email, Thomas and Lydia are both immediately infatuated with Gabriel after reading this email. For 2 weeks, they're trading emails with Gabriel. Every single one of Gabriel's emails is 900 words minimum. He is always referencing the War of 1812 or the French Revolution.
High effort email. Okay.
A week and a half in, Lydia and Thomas are both like, this is getting a little ridiculous. But also, their sex life has gotten so much better since they met Gabriel. It's like they're in Hamlet all over again.
I'm assuming that it does not involve him. It is just his presence has sort of awakened something in them.
Yeah.
Okay. An 800-word email is a red flag. Responding immediately, great. But writing a novel, I don't know about that. But I'm supportive of his presence generally. If even being in his orbit is good for them.
Yeah. How far would you take this?
Listen.
I'm listening.
Maybe I don't like Gabriel, but I want to go to the party.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
Would current version of me hook up with an irritated guy if I knew that it meant access to the party? No. But I'm in my 40s. And I know who I am and I know what a party's worth.
Yeah.
Would 20-year-old me do that?
Exactly.
There's so much for you to experience, and you should.
Yeah.
I think that version of me is really giving it a thought. I'm going to say it's likely.
After 2 weeks of increasingly lurid emails, Gabriel formally extends an invitation for them to join him as his guest of honor at the upcoming Anne Rice Ball.
Do you think they celebrated by doing a waltz?
Well, Lydia's like, do you know how many people want to fuck a vampire? Thomas is like, babe, you don't actually believe he's a vampire, right? Lydia's like, of course not. That would be crazy. But then she's like, how do so many cultures have stories of vampires if there isn't some sort of truth to it, Lydia's just asking questions.
Lydia. What did we replace vampires with? I guess banking executives.
I'd rather have vampires.
Yeah, same.
But Lydia's also like, Thomas, I won't do anything you're not comfortable with. So if you don't want to go, we don't go. So you're Thomas. What do you do?
I think a lot of this is wrapped up in how do I feel about my relationship with Lydia? Is it good? Is it strong? Do I want to spend a significant portion of what I can imagine of the future of my life with this person?
Yeah.
And if the answer to that is yes, I'm going to do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Thomas is pretty much in the same place. He decides it's time to put theory into practice with the understanding that they can always go home if they want. So our friends of a friend say yes to Gabriel, who promises to come fetch them on the evening of the ball. which comes sooner than either Thomas or Lydia are really prepared for. Like, their costumes literally still have pins in some places, but nowhere visible, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So Gabriel fetches them, as promised, in a vintage convertible, and the night only goes up from there. Anne Rice herself is at the Anne Rice ball. Thomas and Lydia never see her talk to Gabriel, but towards the end of the night, Gabriel's like, oh, we ran into each other outside the bathroom. She's just as enchanted with you as I am. And Gabriel is clearly enchanted. Like, there's obviously the usual flirty arm touches throughout the night. But also when Lydia orders a glass of champagne, Gabriel, like, delicately lifts the glass to her lips so she can take a sip. And he's, like, making eye contact the whole time.
Okay, but, like, what about Thomas, dog?
Well, then there's this moment when the live music gets a little loud. So Gabriel leans in close to Thomas's ear. So Thomas can hear him better, obviously, because it's loud.
Obviously.
Gabriel's hand is on the small of Thomas's back. And right before he leans away, Gabriel kisses Thomas's neck. Thomas is like, wow, this is so much better than I read about.
Good for you, Thomas.
And there's an open bar at the Anne Rice ball. So everything's coming up Thomas and Lydia.
Okay, all right. That's a blessing and a curse. Let's everybody be careful.
Gabriel drives them home. They invite him up for a nightcap. And literally no one in the history of the world has ever had just a nightcap. No. So I'm sure we can all guess what happens next. You all can use your imaginations. This is not that kind of podcast. They do exist, so go find them, but this is not it.
If you do end up using your imagination a lot, just write it down. You can go put it on Archive of Our Own, and then we'll read it so that we can,
Please write fan fiction about normal gossip. Not about me, but about the characters in
about the
show.
Characters. Yeah. We can come back. We can do a staged reading. Yes. I can wear a blonde wig. Yeah.
We'll take your theater background. I'll be there. What would you expect the morning after a night like this to be like?
If I were writing this, like as a story and not as a recounting of actual events that happen, you would wake up in the next morning and Gabriel would finally admit to being like Tom Sullivan, you know, like the next morning he's a normal guy and he's like, so you guys you want to get bagels or,
you like cream cheese? Or
you guys like, you want to get coffee or are you tea people? Like the spell has been broken. You know, you spent 2 weeks of lurid emails. Like where do you go after that? If you've already done it, like there's got to be a baseline reset. That's like the funniest result, I think. What actually happened is I bet he's pretty normal. My guess is that it's like exactly the kind of slightly awkward, but like not horrible, like morning after.
Lydia and Thomas wake up just before noon the next day. And it doesn't take them long to realize that Gabriel is gone.
Oh, of course he is. I should have known.
For a hot minute, Thomas is like, did last night really happen? But he and Lydia are both covered in bite marks. And there's a white handkerchief on their nightstand that certainly does not belong to either one of them. Uh-huh. Lydia's like, oh my God. The sunlight, it's hurting my eyes.
She's not hungover. She's a vampire now.
Thomas is like, babe, I'm pretty sure you're just hungover. But Lydia is not to be deterred. She runs to check her reflection in the bathroom mirror. And she's like, oh my God, you can barely see me. My reflection, it's fading. Except the bathroom light isn't on. And once Thomas turns it on, it is immediately clear that Lydia's reflection is unchanged. Mm-hmm. Thomas is like, don't you think we should talk about what last night means for our relationship? And Lydia says, don't worry about that. We have centuries to talk about that.
Lydia.
We are almost at the end of our story. In an ideal world, how would this end?
In an ideal world, how would this end? Nobody regrets what they did. And Lydia and Thomas figure out that this is a thing that both of them are into. They both enjoy this sort of thing. And they are in a community of people who can provide that for them. And they both find great jobs. And they both get healthcare in the 1990s in the United States somehow. And, like Gabriel continues to be a figure sort of on the periphery of their lives. He opened that proverbial door. Does not represent any amount of regret or shame.
That's a great ending. This is normal gossip, though.
Yeah, so I imagine. Yeah.
So later that day, Lydia sends a breathless email to Gabriel. Like, last night was a dream. We hope it's the first of many. Is this the beginning of our eternal night? Meanwhile, Thomas is like, can you ask him, like, what are we?
Can we put a label on this, like, as soon as possible?
I need to know. I need to prepare myself. They receive a reply within 10 minutes, which, again, not abnormal for Gabriel. And the email certainly sounds like Gabriel. It is unnecessarily long and flowery. But as Thomas and Lydia read the email, they quickly realize that it's from someone alleging to be Gabriel's wife, Beth, who informs them that Gabriel's real name is Ron.
That's almost the opposite of Gabriel. I mean, we knew the whole time, right? There's no way this guy's name was actually Gabriel.
Beth is like, Ron and I have an agreement. He can go to the city and do whatever he wants, because apparently Ron doesn't even live in New Orleans. He and Beth live in a suburb of New Orleans called Metairie. So Beth is like, we have an agreement. I don't care what or who he does in New Orleans. But what I didn't know about is all this vampire shit. Beth is like, whatever you're involved in is unnatural. What God-fearing man owns this much velvet? I don't know what satanic nonsense you're involved in, but I suggest you find the Lord, as Ron will be doing going forward.
Right, because this was like, I mean, depending upon when in the 90s, this would have been maybe smack dab in the middle of one of the satanic panics. Fascinating. Open marriage-ish, maybe, it sounds like.
Yeah.
But the other stuff, affront to the Lord.
Exactly. You can fuck who you want, but not wearing a cape.
Yeah. Yeah. As soon as you stand under a downlight, it's over. It's done. It's no more.
It's
You're
over.
cut off. You look at one piece of leather, and I swear to God.
So I do have some final updates for you, but before I get to them, I want to ask, do you believe this email is actually from Gabriel's wife? Or is this possibly some ruse?
Like, could it be him being like, here's how I get out of any level of commitment?
Yeah.
My impulse is to say that that is not the case because he is a fixture in this community, from what I understand. And if he understands that these people are also present and around, and especially if they are friends with Marcus and Michelle, right, who are around, then there would be reason for him to believe that he's like going to see them around a lot. If he's not going to completely like cut himself out and be gone now. He's going to give up his, what was he, like a cemetery tour guide?
Yes, cemetery tour leader, yeah.
Like, if this represents a total shift in his lifestyle, like maybe it's him. But it would be strange to send this if you think it's likely that you will run into them perhaps over and over again.
It's true.
So I'm going to say it'd be likely, possible, that it's actually, that Beth is real.
Well, do you share this email from Beth with the rest of the Anne Rice community who have been watching Gabriel for years now?
Are you kidding me? Absolutely. Absolutely. I am printing it out on my dot matrix printer. And I am bringing it to Louise. And I am saying, hey, what do you guys know about this, sis?
Well, Thomas and Lydia decide not to share it with them because they decide if it's real, they kind of feel bad for Ron/Gabriel. And going to the Anne Rice ball with Gabriel had gotten them so much street cred in the Anne Rice community that Thomas and Lydia, they don't want to give that up. So they're like, we'll keep your secret, Ron, Gabriel, whoever you are. The next time Thomas and Lydia see Marcus and Michelle, they just say they've been sworn to secrecy and that it's a night they'll never forget, which isn't wrong.
It's a very, very vampire thing to say. Yeah.
It'll live in their memories forever. Thomas and Lydia do eventually break up. It is an amicable split. It has nothing to do with Gabriel, but they both end up leaving New Orleans. They're still friendly enough, though, that when Thomas goes back to New Orleans in 2005 to help out after Katrina, he sends an email to Lydia, and he tells her that he went back to Louis, which had miraculously survived. And that at the end of the night, out of the corner of his eye, Thomas could have sworn he saw a beautiful man with piercing green eyes who didn't look like he had aged a day in the past 7 years. But when Thomas turns back around, the man is gone. And that's the end of our story. Do you believe in vampires any more than you did before we started?
I believe in precisely one vampire now, and his name is Ron, and he works as a mechanic on the outskirts of New Orleans.
Yes.
That ruled. That was great. I still don't like Gabriel, but I am supportive of his existence.
I support your lifestyle choices, Gabriel.
Yes, yes.
Thank you for listening to Normal Gossip. If you have a gossip story to share with us, email us at normalgossip@defector.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 2679-GOSSIP. If you love this podcast and want to support us, become a friend or a friend of a friend at supportnormalgossip.com. You can follow the show on Instagram and TikTok at Normal Gossip. You can follow me on all social media at HeyDanae, HeyDnae. This podcast was produced by Sierra Spragley-Ricks and Jay Tolviera. Our audio engineer is Samantha Gatzik. The co-creators and Dowager Queens of Normal Gossip are Kelsey McKinney and Defector's supervising producer Alex Sujan Laughlin. Justin Ellis is Defector's projects editor. Jasper Wang and Sean Kuhn are Defector's business guides. Tom Lay is our editor-in-chief. Dan McQuaid runs our merch store, which you can find at normalgossip.store. Tara Jacoby designed our show art. Thank you to Brandy Jensen, David Roth, Catherine Shu, Serena Imbler, Chris Thompson, Dave McKenna, Patrick Redford, and Ray Rado for your help on this season. Thank you to the rest of the Defector staff. Defector Media is a collectively owned, subscriber-based media company. Normal Gossip is a proud member of Radiotopia. I'm your host, Rachel Hampton, and remember, you didn't hear this from me.
Radiotopia. From